Okay, so now we get back to Nasser, right? Because Nasser and Syria have a mutual defense pact. On May 14th, Nasser moves Egyptian troops into the Sinai and he requests the complete removal of these United Nations troops, right? These, what's called the UNEF troops from the Sinai, uh, from Sinai as well as Gaza and Sharm el-Sheikh, overlooking the Straits of Tiran. And the UN, right? These UN forces, right? They were there since the 1956 war, the Suez Crisis, because once again, there needs to be basically this third party in the Sinai keeping these two sides, right, Israel and Egypt, from going at each other's throats, right? So basically, once again, Nasser says, okay, I'm moving my troops there because I have a defense pact with Syria, and then the UNEF troops withdraw. Now, on the one hand, right, Abba Eban says that this is wanton irresponsibility of Nasser, right? And yet, it seems like international observers didn't agree with this. Um, on the one hand, in a memo to President Johnson, right, Lyndon Johnson, right, in America, the National Security Advisor, Walt Rostow, recognized that Nasser probably feels his prestige would suffer irreparably if he failed a third time to come to the aid of an Arab nation that's attacked by Israel. And Odd Bull, right, the same guy I mentioned above, chief of staff of the UN forces, similarly recalled in his memoir that Nasser was, quote, obliged to act if his reputation in the Arab world was not to suffer because he had been subject to a lot of criticism on the ground that he was sheltering behind the UNEF. Even Moshe Dayan conceded that the nature and scale of our reprisal actions against Syria and Jordan had left Nasser with no choice but to defend his image and prestige in his own country and throughout the Arab world, thereby setting off a train of escalation in the entire Arab region. So, acknowledging its legality, right, of what Nasser was doing, the UN Secretary General, U Thant, he nevertheless expressed deep misgivings about Nasser's decision to terminate the UNEF mission, especially in light of the prevailing tensions and dangers throughout the area. So just remember, right, the peacekeeping force, the UNEF soldiers that had been in the Sinai since 1956 to prevent another war, right, they are withdrawing because Nasser says, well, I want my guys there, right? I have a defense pact with Syria, and Israel's threatening Syria. But note that the Secretary General, he did not, however, reserve criticism for Egypt alone. First, he recalled that the Egyptian-Israeli Mixed Armistice Commission, that is IMAC, established as part of the agreements that ended the 1948 war, could, as it did prior to the establishment of the UNEF, provide a limited form of United Nations presence in the area. Yet IMAC had become a dead letter since Israel unilaterally withdrew from it at the time of the Suez War, in an action that, unlike Nasser's, was a clear defiance of UN resolutions. So on the one hand, right, if you're going to say, well, Nasser made this, he was just acting arrogance in trying to kick out the UNEF forces, well, there actually was a prior agreement which Israel had signed onto after the 1948 war that did allow for these UN peacekeeping soldiers to be there, but Israel withdrew it in a way that the Secretary General said was a clear defiance of the resolutions. And then there's some business. Anyway, that's all I'll say about that right now.